1020 KDKA.
Well, what a busy morning here at the plant. 17 minutes after 6 o'clock. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, he is waiting to take the runway. So let's welcome to the program from the CCBC School of Aviation, one of the top schools of aviation in the country. People travel worldwide to be a part of what they do at the Beaver County Airport, also the home of the Air Heritage Museum and that brand new hotel going up as well, and also the flight school that we're about to tell you about. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Corkey Romeo joins me now in studio on KDKA. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing really good. I got to brag a little bit about Dan Donatella. Not only a consummate politician, but he loves flight. He's fascinated by it. And if he would have been one of the Wright brothers, I could understand why he's so passionate about it. And he's a damn good pilot, too. Why do you think it is, and he finds it relaxing, okay, but why do you think it is a guy who has been in such pressure cookers his entire life, loves to make it even more difficult, do something so wonderful, but you got to have your eye on the ball, and that's being a pilot? Why do you think Dan loves it so much?
I think it's like all of us do. It's being in control, and when you're up in the air, there's only one thing to think about, and that's what you're doing. So all the cares go away, and in reality, it's the best office, window office in the world.
Yeah.
Watching the clouds go by, watching the ground go by, and especially if you're doing some formation work or acrobatics and stuff like that, the world just kind of stops. And there you are by yourself in space, turning yourself upside down and inside out, so to speak, when I was doing in the Air Force, and just having a ball.
Well,
just having a ball.
It's one career that the sky's the limit, no doubt.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's talk about the Tuskegee Airmen a little bit. You were
Absolutely.
listening to that opening
Yes, sir.
segment. What amazing men, huh?
Absolutely. I got to meet one or two of them in the course of time, and they were outstanding gentlemen. What's unique about that group is they all came together for one effort, and that was to keep the world free. It's the same kind of gentleman that my dad's, who flew in World War II, was part of, and the group that I knew with him when I used to go to the reunions.
Calvin Smith, by the way, a Tuskegee Airman from Beaver Falls, good friend of Dan's. I didn't know that, but I've gotten to meet some of them, and Wendell Freeland is one via the phone, and a lot of these men not only were just pillars in the community, but wonderful members of the armed forces, but it went on to have amazing professional careers too.
Amazing, especially in the times that we're talking about. And it's the perseverance, I believe, and the dedication to what they saw was right, that, for lack of a better term, caused them to go down that path.
We're going to spend a majority of this program because I want to talk about the flight school, which is just an award-winning school of aviation. But you being a bomber pilot in the Air Force, just have done so many things. What's it like when you're in that situation? And I remember a gentleman by the name of Tony Corkey, who I used to rent off in Monaca, was a bomber pilot during World War II. And we would have these lengthy conversations about, he was a kid one day in western Pennsylvania, a recruit the next, and then before you know it, down south, learning to fly a B-52. How overwhelming, frightening, scary, or all of the above, and exhilarating is it when you finally get that opportunity to hold on to that throttle and to sit in the real air chair, if you will? We say radio air chair, but when you're piloting a bomber, to me, that has to be one of the biggest highs anybody could ever imagine.
It is, and to have in my case, flying B-52s, having a 5-man crew besides myself, so 6 of us, and walking out to the airplane, and as you walk out to the airplane, you know that's your bird, and for the next 12 to 14 hours, that's your bird, and you're going to command it through the skies with your crew. Doing the dedicated mission that we had to do, either training or, for the most part, it's all training, and to be prepared to go to war. That's what we raised our hands for, took the oath for, and said, we will protect this country. And that's exactly what we did. We trained to protect this country. I got a kick out of, I used to go to reunions with my dad, who flew B-17s. He was a radio operator and gunner, and I used to go to the reunions and sit with the pilots. And all I wanted to talk about was the 17s. All they wanted to talk and how they got in and out of the airplane and what they did and how they did it. and the question I always asked them is, I can understand climbing into the airplane the first time and going on the mission. I can understand that. How did you do it? Time after time after time, realizing the losses. And their comment was all the same. It's what we needed to do. And then all they wanted to talk to me about was flying the B-52 and flying that eight-engine gigantic airplane, and how I enjoyed flying the B-52. It was kind of it was very unique, very, very unique.
I was so blessed to be born at just that time where I missed the Vietnam War and obviously wasn't around during World War II or Korea. But I was also surrounded by many of these great veterans of all conflicts and all wars and all fronts. But obviously because of my father's age, many of them were World War II. A friend of my father's, Glenn Sheets, he was a gunner, the underbelly of a bomber. And he would tell me these stories, and I would sit there wide-eyed and just listen to them and only imagine what that would be like. And here's the thing that I always think about at this age, how young your father and those men were at that time.
Absolutely correct.
Because you always have a vision of them being older. How do you think that generation, for being so young, when I was that age, walking gum and chewing gum and walking was a difficult thing to do. How is it that they were able to have that laser focus and be able to just realize what their mission was, stay the course and understand the significance of it and get it done and never look back and just move forward, whether it was a success or failure, when many of these men weren't even 25 yet?
I think it was that singular focus. It was at that time, listening to my dad, listening to his group, being around the World War II vets. It was, we had a mission, and that was to rid the world of the German invasions or Nazism. And that was the singular mission. There was no thought about coming home. There was no thought about what happens tomorrow. It was today. It was take it one day at a time. That's what these guys kept telling me over and over and over again. We didn't look to tomorrow. All we saw was, what are we going to do right now? And from the pre-mission brief through the mission and the debrief. And during that time frame, there were 50%, basically 50% losses. And one bomber, B-17 at the time, was a 10-man crew.
And here's something that people don't realize, and I just started thinking about this. In combat, the foot soldier, someone dies, it's immediate, it's over. When you're in the sky and someone is hit, and you see them spiraling to the ground, in many cases, they're not dead yet. So you have to lock in and witness this thing unfold to where it comes to this finale, which in most cases is not good unless they ejected from the plane. And I got to believe that didn't happen as often as we would like to believe, especially during World War II. And these pictures that you had to take back, try to sleep, try to regroup for what little sleep you could get, nourishment, and get back out there, and realize that this person's bunk that is now empty next to you was a living human being less than 24 hours ago.
Absolutely. And they compartmentalized that, and it was, when they looked back on it, and this is from my dad and his, when they look back on it, it's burned into their memory. It's something they cannot forget and will not forget.
I have to ask you this, and then we're going to come back and focus
Absolutely.
on nothing but the school. Your dad had to be a huge influence on why you became who you became.
I would say that. That's
right
yes.
on.
Yeah, I can't ever remember a time, and this is the honest God's truth, I can't ever remember a time I didn't want to fly airplanes. So it had to start from him.
What is it with, and I know I have it, and I've said this many times, I'll be at Sheets's up by the airport or parked there at that red light, just adjacent to FedEx and all of the things that go on there at the wonderful airport, and I'm just fascinated by flight. Why is it? Even when I get on a plane today, I'm as excited as I was the first time. Why am I? And I have nothing to do with the Air Force or being a pilot, but why do I love flight so much?
There's a mystique about aviation. There really is a mystique about aviation. Man has always wanted to fly. He's always looked to the sky, always looked to the birds. And we have spent, billions of dollars to have these intricate machines that do what birds do naturally. And we've always wanted to do that. And the folks who get to do that, either as a recreational pilot all the way through a commercial pilot.
And it's the same thing with NASA, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
All right. 6:30, just a couple of minutes away. It's right now 6:27. David Singer with a look at the news. And then we're back to talk about the aviation school. What an amazing place at the Beaver County Airport. And, of course, affiliated with the Community College of Beaver County next with Corkey, Romeo on KDKA.
Your city.
Mayor Luke